Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to another 5-star edition of Props to Consider and Then Maybe Bet. I am your host, Lou Betya, here of the MMA Engine. Thank you for spending time with us. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on the video. Please subscribe to the MMA Engine channel. Everything counts in the algorithm. Quick review of last week. Not so good. 2 straight good weeks of props, 4 each last week. I've already deleted the tape of the Romanov predictions. I've deleted all of it. I've deleted the main event takes. It's done. It's gone. It's wiped from the internet. We're moving on. Big pay-per-view this weekend. Usman versus Edwards. Maybe. I will break that news during the show. But I have 2 guys with me who I have done their pod before, and they are almost as wacky and weird as me. Definitely close. My guys, Anthony and Liang, now Liang's number 2 fan, Tommy of the On the Line pod. Guys, thank you for spending your afternoon with me. Welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. Great. Obviously not number 1. You got to give that to Brady. I can't take that mantle from him.
Brady is the number 1 fan.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know you guys, please tell them about the pod you guys do, how you guys even started, how you 2 connected in the first place. Because you guys interview a ton of fighters. You also run a format that is very unique. It's not a typical pick show. So please talk about that in excruciatingly painful detail for the folks.
Okay, I'll make it nice, short, and sweet. Long time ago, so like our biggest sponsor, Living Fit, they wanted to start doing a sports podcast, and pretty much they brought me on to do interviews and stuff for them. Then after doing it for about like 6 months or whatever, I realized MMA, UFC is kind of where I wanted to get into. And then over the next couple months, started to go focus more on MMA, UFC. And then about halfway through the year last year, I realized I needed a co-host. I had an intern, love him to death. Didn't know anything about the UFC or MMA. So whenever I talk about it, it was like, think about like your casual friends talking about MMA. That's kind of what it was. So it was a little rough doing it. So we did like, I just kind of put something out on Twitter. I'm like, hey, if there's anyone interested in doing this, apply. Love to hear from you guys. And Anthony kind of blew everyone else out of the water, joined the show, and kind of my little mishmash of how I wanted everything to go kind of just took off. And it's so kick ass because we're starting to see the results from it. And it's kind of like you're seeing your creation work. And like, as you said, like our show's a lot different. So instead of doing like gambling, things like that, we do like fight descriptions. And actually, here's some breaking news for your show. It's not really breaking news, but it's like, this week we're debuting a new fight category. It's called the bar fight, bar brawl. It's based off of Dricus du Plessis fights, pretty much, where it's just after like 4 minutes.
Those are my favorite kind of fights.
Yeah, you just don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. So we're gonna start picking those every week. Last week it would have been Pleasure Man, Fedor Petrino. That was a bar fight, but yeah, man, it's kick ass. And
anybody who had the under in that fight hates their life.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
he can take a punch. I think I tweeted something. I'm like, I've never wanted somebody to win and die simultaneously as much as I wanted the Pleasure Man just to eat it. But man, he got a chin.
So much kissing. He's got a big chin now. His jaws is perfect from all the kissing he does, both upstairs and downstairs.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention my experience on your pod a few months ago. I had a great time. Definitely no audio problems. Definitely no video problems. Smooth sailing. I also want to mention, since Anthony hasn't said it, and he probably won't because he's a modest guy, he has been killing it lately. Not only on props, but his main event takes. He's the first to it every week. He's like, this guy, it's easy. And I'm like, nah. And I write, nah, you're crazy. And then I just need to start tailing his picks in the main event. But luckily for us, we're going to be discussing the main event. And anybody listening to this, I will break some news. Although by the time you watch this, maybe the news will be broken already. I don't care. I'm not a journalist. My job is just to report it as I say it. Anybody watching, if you've never seen it, we're not breaking down every fight. We're giving our 4 or 5 favorite props on the card. We're going to talk about the main event. And as always, we're going to end with a flourish with our Yambag special. Anthony, let me start with you. What's the first prop you have to consider and then maybe bet, and why did you take it?
Yeah, first one I have is LaRon Murphy inside the distance.
Fuck.
The reason I have that is I think he's better kind of everywhere as a fighter. Definitely in the striking department. He has the power to finish Santos. And just outside factors outside of fighting, Santos has never fought outside of Brazil. He's taken this fight on semi-short notice. It's across the country. Different time zone. Everything's just going to be flipped and reversed for him. And it's kind of just a nice setup for LaRon to get a nice KO in front of his fans. And I kind of think that's how it's going to go down. It's going to get a KO finish. I don't know with round. That's why inside the distance, bet online, I see it at plus 265. So it's not too bad of a number. I mean, pretty solid, actually. I thought it would be lower, truthfully. So that's what I'll go with for my first prop.
This doesn't count for me. I had plus 300 just KO. You think he can stop him?
Probably not, but you never know. When it's that marginal, it's not very much off, might as well just take the ITD and play it safe. I didn't think Yuri was going to submit Glover, shit like that. So you never know.
Facts. By the way, real quick, side note, you were saying earlier, Lou, how you're like not a newsbreaker. I had like the Zach Palga news moving down to light heavyweight for like 2 weeks. And I like holding off on the interview until he announced, like, that's not my job. I'm not fucking like.
Right. We don't want to blow this guy's up. Do you have any props on that fight, Tommy?
I had the same thing. I had LaRon Murphy KO. So I got to cross that one off my list.
Well, then I may as well. Let me just come in with this because I have a little different take. So I got Murphy on Sunday at minus 135. I jumped right on it. I have no remorse over it. I have an angle I've been using this whole year. I don't like taking these ITD or time props on guys that are undefeated. You just never know. We've seen it with like the dude against Malarkey. We saw that. I can't remember. It's all blending together. But like I avoided like the Rebecca in the distance. I avoided the Argetta in the distance. So it's not out yet, but I'm curious to know what the LaRon Murphy split decision props are. And I only say this for one reason. If anybody's going to get a finish, I believe it is Murphy. I believe that finish equity is on his side because Santos gets into wars and now he's facing a guy levels above anything he's faced. You brought up he's never fought out of Brazil. It's also the short notice nature of this fight. There's a lot going against him. But Murphy's kind of a slow starter. And I mean, Amir, like Mr. Finland, Bakwani, like he won that first round and Kugov, like we've seen Murphy struggle a little bit early. So I don't know if Santos is going to come out guns a-blazing. He could easily steal the first round by just being aggressive, having the optics. I think as this fight goes on, as soon as it gets to the middle of the second round, it's going to be all Murphy all day. If he does get a KO, I think it's late. I am looking at the split decision props. They're not out. I'll see if I get there, but I do think that Murphy definitely has the finish equity here. All right, Tommy, it's your turn. We've all covered one fight, which is cool. What do you got next for us?
All right. Well, that was what I wanted to start off with, but I got a different one. I actually had chicken parmesan for lunch today and like celebration of this. I got Marvin Vettori inside the distance. I think he gets his first finish here in a while. But knowing that probably means Roman Dolidze is going to fuck me and get another finish. But I just don't trust the guy.
Flying toe hold.
For real. It's going to be Marvin Vettori is going to be winning that fight until he doesn't. But no, I think I love the round 3 plus 100, but like inside the distance plus 365, like just take that and then sprinkle the round 3, maybe even take the round 2. I think maybe first round Roman might have moments, but I think Marvin's just all around better all around. And what's even crazier, Marvin's younger than Roman. He's like 29, Roman's like 32 or whatever. And Marvin's just got better every fight. His boxing is going to be better than the last time we saw him, even though it's hard to look really good against Robert Whittaker. Whittaker put on a class, but Robert Whittaker is not Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze is not Robert Whittaker. This is a complete step down for Marvin Vettori. I think we're kind of reminded, like, even though the middleweight division is pretty thin, the guys at the top are so much better than the rest of that division.
All right. Anthony, how do you feel about that fight? You have any props you like there?
I did have one written down, and it's Roman Dolidze by sub at plus 615. And that's just really because the numbers, that's a pretty big number for Roman Dolidze. I'm pretty sure he has like world-class BJJ accolades. And so I think that's his win condition. You're not knocking out Marvin Vettori. Like, it's just not happening. And I don't think he has really any decision equity against Marvin Vettori. So if he is going to win this fight, I think it's by sub and at plus 615. Like, I think if you're on Vettori, it might be worth a shot just to kind of, if you want to hedge out a little bit and be safe on I think the one win condition that Roman Dolidze really has.
So I'm going to take something from a little bit of both of you here. I like Vettori round 3 submission at 25-1. I just said how I don't like taking, these in the distance props against guys who have never like been finished. I know Dolidze's lost once. The thing is the guys he faces don't put pace, are not going to put a pace on him like Vettori is. Vettori is also like the far more active striker. Like Dawkins isn't a very active striker on the feet. Trevin Giles, I believe. No, who did he, was it Phil Rowe? I'm trying to, for whatever reason
Phil Haas.
now, Phil Haas, sorry.
Yeah, destroyed
Haas,
his ACL.
And that's kind of a fluke result. Hermanson was the more active guy on the feet, got him to the ground, and was winning every minute of that fight until he wasn't. So am I concerned that could happen here? Obviously, because Dolidze just keeps screwing me over on my bets. Have I learned anything? Nope, not a thing. I do think Vettori, though, he's going to put such a pace on Dolidze here that when that third round starts, we'll see what he looks like. You know, Dolidze does not push a pace on the feet, like a horrendous pace. On the ground, you know, look, if he's just getting wrestle effed for 10 minutes, we'll see what his cardio looks like. You know, I see plus 2,500. It's worth a shot, but I favor Vettori in this fight until Dolidze. If you like Dolidze, I'm with you, Anthony. If you like Dolidze, take the finish. You're better off just taking him in the distance, and you're probably better off taking him by sharpshooter or whatever meme sub
Boston Crab. Like, I don't know. I saw that video going viral this past week, so maybe it's going to be Roman Dolidze.
All right, let me start off with let's go to this fight next for me. I mean, we just saw this happen, you know, on the Contender Series, you know, so there's not a lot of like that I'm going to really add to this, but Sam Patterson round 2 submission at plus 850. It's another undefeated fighter. I get it. I'm going against my rules, but the very little I've seen of Yanal, I'm not impressed. You know, the measurables, like the intangibles here, he's going to be so much smaller than Patterson. I do worry about Patterson's tall man defense. I don't know that Yanal can reach him. I also know that like he seems to be pretty slick on the ground. Patterson, I think we're going to fade him very soon. This is a very custom made matchup for him. I think he might get clipped in the first round, Patterson, but I think he'll hang in there and eventually just take this to the ground and stretch this guy. So what do you guys think about that fight in terms of props?
I do like Patterson by sub. I don't really know a round, but plus 260 by sub. I think that's kind of, you know, that's how he's won on the regional scene. And I think if he can potentially get a win here on Yanal. The only thing with Patterson is he looks like he's a little frail just in terms of strength. And so how Yanal fights, he's kind of one of those guys that gets beat up until he can kind of out cardio you, and then he flips the switch and the fight kind of goes in his favor. But I do like Patterson by sub, and Yanal was a little sloppy on the ground, and Patterson, like you said, does look a little slick. So it seems like he might be able to lock in a choke or something and get him out of there.
Yeah, we'll see. I was not impressed with anything I saw from Yanal on the grappling. And Tommy, how do you feel about that one?
Well, no bias whatsoever. It's not like Sam's been on the show or anything, but no bias. But I have him by finish. But no, he's one of those guys who where it's he's just a finish machine, dude. All he does is go out and finish. I think it could be one of those instances where he looks like he's going to be losing the fight until he doesn't. I do think he's going to get clipped. I will say that. I do think he's going to get clipped. He leaves his chin out there to get clipped. But I love that submission game he has. I love his grappling. I think he might clip the guy, but if he clips him, it's going to be a club and sub. The dude loves the submission. So I do love that sub at like plus 275, plus 260.
He does seem like his first instinct is to go for the neck as soon as like he has the chance. All right, Anthony, your turn. What's the next fight you're going to target here?
Yeah, Omar Morales by points.
You are a bold man.
Yeah, I am. I mean, there are some durability concerns, without a doubt, when it comes to Morales. However, we're talking about who's the better fighter, who's more skilled, and who has more ways, not more ways to win, I guess, but just who has the higher likelihood of winning, in my opinion. I think it's Morales. I'm just not really sure what to take from Duncan. He has a lot of early finishes. Morales has shown to be tough for the most part of his career until late, and I don't know if that's just because he's getting up there in age, and so that might just be playing a part. But all of his UFC wins are by decision. I don't really see him. He doesn't seem like he's like goes out there to go kill people. He seems he's to be happy to point fight his opponents. And so Morales by points, it's plus 215, so it's not amazing. There's definitely better lines out there, but I think that's kind of how he wins the fight. So it's better than his minus 110.
Yeah, it's like the Twitter war fight of the week, Morales and Duncan. What about you, Tommy? Where are you on in this fight? Do you have anything that's prop word?
I'm avoiding this like the plague. I want nothing to do with this fight. I saw Chris Duncan get clipped a million times and come back and win that fight. And that kind of concerns me. But Morales isn't really that much of a power puncher. He's more of like a volume guy. And also he's been kind of durable for the most part himself. You take away that Uros Medic fight, he hits like a truck. He survived the Giga Shikaze onslaught. So I do like Anthony's take of it going to decision for Omar. I do think he's the better fighter. But I don't know, dude. There's something about the Duncan guy. I don't think the UFC wanted to set him up with someone that he's going to lose to in his own over there in England. So I'm staying away from it because I hate it. The Twitter wars, I always avoid. It's like, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm like my record of Twitter wars is not great. My timeline is more on Morales, but every I talk to, like, my timeline's all on Duncan. I'm like, I mean, his striking defense is like zero.
It's awful.
The only thing that gives me pause with Morales here is that, I mean, he got hit. It was like a deflating whale when he got hit.
Yeah,
by Medic. It was like, I mean, the apex, you could hear like all the air. I'm hesitant. I mean, I'm hesitant to back a guy like that. But all right, Tommy, what do you got next for us?
So up next, this one is a complete stab in the dark. I don't love it, but there is something. So spoiler, if you're watching this and watch our show, this is gonna be my cross bagger. I like Jafel to win inside the distance against Muhammad Makayev.
Really?
Sprinkle it a little bit. And it's only because Makayev has a shoulder injury. So I don't know what his grappling is going to look like in this fight. That is why it's my cross bagger, because he's hurt going into it. And he was just like desperate to fight on this card. I don't think the UFC is going to set him up for failure, but fighting hurt, Jafal hits pretty damn hard. Why not? Sprinkle it. If a guy's hurt, why not? That's the only reasoning I got.
That's some balls, man. I'll tell you, I don't know that you can play that fight on the Makayev side.
No.
Like, I don't even like his finish props. If anything, I like the overs. But yeah, this injury news breaking today is intriguing. Anthony, you got any feelings on that fight, or is there's no way you can really bet it on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna bet it, but if I were to, I would sprinkle Makayev by KO, because I think he might go out there and just, I mean, he's a really good striker, and he doesn't want to show it, and I don't really know why. He just keeps winning to grapple, and it's worked out for him, but maybe this fight isn't going to be the one that he's going to be able to do that in. And so plus 475 for KO. He hasn't got one in the UFC yet. So why not get his first KO at home in front of the fans?
And he almost had one against Durden.
So yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm going to take an easy one for my next one, since this is almost feels like a binary pick. I'm going to take Jack Shore round 2 plus 400. The odds are absolutely terrible for this. Anthony, you have the same one. Yeah, I mean, but that being said, Amir Khani round 1 submission is plus 1,800.
That was my next one I was going to say.
I mean, but like, you could play both.
Yeah.
And still get away with it. Like, I mean, do you guys see another outcome for this fight, or we just move on here?
There's no other outcomes.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, somebody was like, "Oh, I love Shore round 3." I'm like, yeah, but that implies that like Amir Khani gets to round 3, and like he can. He has. I kind of see this playing like the Pierce fight, dude, where Pierce is just gonna Pierce just mowed him down like with cardio, and you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. I took the easy.
That's what I was going to say. You take Mach 1 at plus 1,800 in the first round by sub. He's not going to knock him out. Sub with round 1, and then you sprinkle that with a little Jack Shore round 2. It's that easy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how you do every.
I mean, it's kind of the custom way to play it. All right, Anthony, how many do you have left? 1 or 2?
I have 2, but I could. Right. I have more on my phone, but
all right, let's pick one of the 2, and let's keep going.
All right. So Jennifer Maia by decision.
Love it.
I saw it at plus 200, so like hit right on that cusp. But I mean, are we honestly expecting a finish? No. So how are either one of these ladies going to win by decision? I think Maia has the wrestling, has the ability to get this fight on the ground. I've never really been impressed with. I am really blanking on her name. Right, Casey O'Neill. I feel like she's kind of just like a clinch fighter. Like she's kind of like a Macy Barber, just a little bit better. Like, that's what I think of when I think of Casey O'Neill. And so, I don't know, Maya's a vet. She's done this before. She's fought way better fighters. Lately, I've really been winning a lot of bets on just betting on the fighters that have the harder strength to schedule. Like, it's just something. I mean, you fight better fighters, you know how to deal with more things, XYZ. And so Maya by decision plus 190 is what I see it at now.
It's 200 on DraftKings currently.
There you go, 200 on DraftKings.
I was looking at Bet Online because I didn't think they had it, and I saw that plus 170 because I was thinking the exact same thing.
I like that play a lot. I'm on the Maya side, and I don't see. I actually on the last show that I did, I gave away a sneaky thing to play, but I don't like rooting for this. Is take the under. If O'Neill's leg is just completely compromised, like we just don't know, then Maya could win by like a TKO. But I'm with you on the Maya side here. I hate it. I don't know if I'm going to get there with a bet, but it's dog or pass for me.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, what do you got?
It was just to go off that real quick too. It was just, we always talk about, it's like the common thing. Oh, the so grapples. I mean, when was the last time Maya took the one takedown in her last fight? Like, we really see the wrestling, which is the only thing that kind of holds me back.
I wish she would tell us what the game plan was.
Wouldn't it be great?
If we knew what her game plan was, she could look like minus 300 here. But
why can't the UFC just let us in on their meetings? Just like, we'll keep it ourselves, you know?
Horrible.
Terrible. Disgusting.
All right, Tommy, what do you got?
My next one, again, I'm kind of following the suit of just like, this number is just stupid. I have Justin Gaethje inside the decision at plus 350. KO.
Inside the distance.
Sorry, I'm so stupid.
That's
I just had a brain fart. We have those. I have those a lot on our show. You'll learn that very quickly. I have a lot of dumb moments. But anyway, yeah, plus 350, Justin Gaethje hits like a truck. They're going to stand on the feet. And when you're going to stand on the feet with a guy like Justin Gaethje, plus 350 for a knockout, crazy to me. Fiziev has been knocked out by a spinning back kick. Again, that's completely different than standing on the feet, swinging and banging. But it just seems like a crazy number for Gaethje. Is that chin gone? We're going to find out pretty quickly. But if he has anything of the chin that he had before being knocked out by Charles Oliveira, I don't think that's too crazy of a number to go at.
Anthony, do you think this line is too wide, or do you think it's just right?
I mean, it's tough to say. I do think it might be a little wide just because Justin Gaethje does have a lot of power. With that being said, I haven't seen Justin Gaethje's power really be that effective on too many people as of late. I mean, Michael Chandler survived. Charles Oliveira survived for the most part. Granted, he can kind of just pull guard, and that's like a safety net for him. But Fiziev got knocked out one time. He's been in a lot of his fights have been wars to an extent, and he's winning them. And so, I mean, I think the line is a little bit wide just because Gaethje does have power, but I'm not sure how much that power is there. But I mean, who's to say that he doesn't get cracked and get knocked out? I have Fiziev like way lower line than this though, so I wouldn't bet Fiziev at this line if that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it early. You got it like weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I got it literally January 15th, so 2 months from today.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, Tommy, I'll go on record. I don't think Gaethje's winning by a spinning back kick.
No chance in fucking hell. I was just saying that's how Fiziev got knocked out before, was that spinning back from Mustayev, who we haven't seen like since then.
It's a hot take. All right, I got one more on my board. Let me just get to it. Christian Leroy Duncan, round 2 KO at plus 550. I know people are on the Dusko side this week. I understand why people are on the Dusko side this week. I got it. I don't think Dusko is he the better grappler here? Yes, by default. Is he a good grappler? No, because his grappling could not get going against D1 Wright in his last fight. I don't like Dusko's durability. I know Duncan is only 7-0 as a professional, but his amateur career, which I don't hear enough people talking about this week, this guy has a fairly decorated amateur career. He's never been finished. It's like 30 fights in 4 years. I like what I see from him, except for the takedown defense. That's why I'm going round 2 here. I think Dusko would be wise to get this thing off the feet as soon as possible. I also don't trust his cardio. I don't know how the RoboCop fight went the distance. That's an outlier for me here. Like, I think they run that 10 times, 9 out of 10 times. Somebody gets bonked in 2 minutes. But And if you know me, you know round 2 is better for me because round 2 pays more. So I'm going with Christian Leroy Duncan, round 2 KO, plus 550. Do you guys have any action or thoughts on that fight?
I have nothing on that fight. I'm not a huge Dusko guy, but I don't know too much about the other fella. So in those cases, I usually just stay away. I'm sure I might bet it like that night or on Saturday when I'm sitting there watching it and just,
Of course, that's the point.
But but at the moment, I have nothing on it now.
I was in the same boat as you, Lou. I wanted to take. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to take it. The thing that's keeping me away from the round 2 is like, can he stuff the takedowns the first round? Because I think Dusko is going to try to wrestle in that first round. It's just kind of a matter of like, when does it start to fail, and when does Leroy Duncan start to clip him? That's kind of what I was trying to figure out. It's like, when does he finally crack him, first or second? But I think I'm going to go with you, and I'm probably going to getting myself to taking that second.
I mean, it does pay more than round 1.
Exactly. So I'm going to kind of hope he just gets wrestle fucked for a round, and then comes out in a second.
All right, Anthony, what's next? I'm out of props, so whatever you guys got left, unload the tank.
So this is my last one, and this one's juicy. I'm gonna go Veronica Hardy, inside the distance, and like
don't do it.
Also, Veronica Hardy by decision, plus 900 IC and plus 650. I don't know. Juliana Miller, don't get me wrong. I think on the ground, like, she does have that very vicious mentality, but Hardy has like good BJJ. Like, she's good off her back. She throws up submissions. Miller is inexperienced, truthfully. I mean, she's had 4 or 5 professional fights. Hardy was in the UFC at 20 years old. She's only 27 right now, even though she took a 2-year layoff, I believe. Like, she's 27, so she's could have gotten a lot better.
She married Dan Hardy. That's what she did in her time off.
Yeah, she married Dan Hardy. She took some time off because she had concussions that she was healing from and stuff. I saw in an interview. I don't know. I mean, the number's just insanely wide. Like, Miller, what has she really shown? Is Brogan Walker all that? I don't really think so. I saw Hardy submit Polyana Viana, and she had a decent fight against Jillian Robertson until she got submitted. And she lost to Andrea Lee, but she didn't get, like, blown out the water, in my opinion. And I think both of those ladies are better than Juliana Miller. So I'm just taking both inside the distance and plus 525 because it's just bigger numbers than her money line, and why not?
I mean, I'm never betting that fight, but I think that's not a horrible. If you're going to play it, can't lay minus 400 here.
No. And that's also one of my things is you don't lay minus 400, and if you're going to do anything, just bet the opposite side. We saw last week Lipsky and JJ Aldrich.
Well, that's a little different. I'll break that fight down a little more on my show on Friday, but I think there's a big difference here between that minus 400. We had more data points with that one than this one, so I'll say that much.
I think coming off a concussion issue too is a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah. She wasn't getting knocked out.
Well, I know, but if you're not getting knocked out and you're having concussion issues, she might quit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, what do you got for us? What's the last one you got before we get to the main event?
The last one I got is for the main event. I got 2 for the main event.
Well, then before we move on to the main event, let me break some news. This is from a source that I have that talks directly to Colby Covington. He is taking a flight out to the UK. He is going to serve as the backup fighter for the main event. Read into that what you will. I don't think he's there to replace Leon Edwards, is all that I would speculate. Your thoughts on how you would line Leon Edwards and Colby Covington, with Covington coming in on short notice?
Anthony's more of the cap than me. I'm gonna let him go first.
I would think Edwards is like minus 150 if I had to cap it right now.
I think it's close to a pick 'em. Yeah, that's what I think.
What do you think?
Oh, I was gonna say like minus 200 for Edwards.
Yeah, because of the short notice.
Short notice, yeah. And I mean, he's smaller. Edwards is bigger. He's longer. He's better on the feet. I mean, Usman was giving Colby problems on the feet. What is Edwards gonna do? I mean, and short notice across the country, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, short notice, I definitely would line it probably minus 200. But if full training camp, I definitely think it would be closer.
Well, we're going to go with the fight that we have currently. And Tommy, why don't you start us off? What are your props and bets on the main event?
I mean, I was so big on Leon last time they fought. I kind of thought it was a matter of time that Kamaru would get knocked out. You know what? Sometimes your winners don't always look great in hindsight, but you know what? He set it up. not as big as a fluke as some people make it out to be. But what I like Leon inside the decision. I don't think he's going to gas out after the first round like he's done in the past. We've seen him in 5-round fights before, and his gas tank hasn't really been an issue before. I kind of like Leon by submission at plus 2,000.
I saw that prop at 20 to 1.
That is ridiculous. Wild. He had his back in the first round. He was so close to getting that neck. Plus 2,000 inside the decision is inside the distance. God damn it, I did it again. Plus 475. It's crazy numbers, man. Crazy numbers. I think Leon gets it done. Just kind of a matter of which way he gets it done. But the whip for both those guys to win by submission is at plus 800. If you kind of want a safer submission bet, but I think Leon's more likely to get set at plus 2,000. But I love Leon inside the distance. I love Leon in general. All aboard the Leon train.
Hey, Usman is not a big submission threat. All right. Well, I know who Anthony likes in this fight, so I want to know how he's playing it.
Well, I bet Edwards money line. So when you have a champ at plus money like that, I feel like you just have to take it. Besides when it's Juliana Pena fighting Amanda Nunes. But I like Edwards by decision, and I see it at, last I saw it was like plus 600, plus 550 or something like that. And so, I don't think he's knocking out Usman again, just based off last fight. Like, sure, he could set something up. That's obviously very possible. We saw that happen. But I think it's just going to be it's just going to kind of go how the last fight went. And I think Leon probably wins, 4 rounds pretty convincingly, especially if all the rumors about Usman's knees are truly like all that bad. And if his hand is really injured and all that, like there's so many question marks going on. I'll be rooting for Usman. I like him more as like a fighter in person, but I'm going to put my money on Edwards. I bet on Edwards last time, and I'm going to do it again this time.
All right. We'll make it 3 for 3 on the Edwards train. I'm not picking a prop here, but I want to just give a quick breakdown as to something I think is very live here. If you're Usman and you come into this, I got to think that he's not dicking around on the feet at all. Like within 10, 15 seconds, because he did last time, and Edwards had success on the ground, but I got to think Usman from the jump of every round is going to immediately try to get this in the clinch, get this to the ground. I think that's going to make him wildly predictable as this fight goes on. I think Edwards is going to be able to catch him coming in. I actually am going to look for like my buddy Tim Troiano does. I want to look for one of these props where the KO happens in the first minute of a round.
Ooh.
Like as the live betting happens, because I think that's going to be Edwards' best chance, is he knows he's going to shoot a takedown in 10 seconds and like a knee up the gut. I just think that's an interesting angle to play as a live bet. But anyway, we are now at the part that everybody just skips to anyway. The Yambag shot. If you're watching for the first time, number one, shame on you. And number two, we're betting on a fight to have a point deduction. It does not have to be as a result of like a ball shot or, I poke Jones over here, but it has to be a point deduction. Keep in mind, we don't know what fights Mark Smith is reffing in advance. So we don't know if you like a fight for a cage grab and you see Mark Smith, I apologize in advance. We just don't have this knowledge. So, Tommy, let's start with you. What you said, I won't have the fight that you have. I wrote down 2 just in case, one gets stolen here. So Tommy, break down a Yambag special for the people and why.
So let's preface by this. This past weekend on the UFC Las Vegas, we had maybe like 10 cage grabs.
And you're talking about just the Turkali fight, right?
I guess you can say, yeah. Turkali, Davey Grant did it for a win. And it was just absurd. We had so many cage grabs, which makes me think they're going to be more like aware of this. They're going to be like, all right, no more warnings. We're just going to take a point.
Okay.
It might be in jeopardy based on this replacement fighter, but I think Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, we could have a point deduction.
Main event Yambags.
Yeah, main event Yambags. I think Kamaru Usman, I'm not going to call him a dirty fighter, but he does cheat. He does grab the fence. He does sometimes. So I think he's going to grab the fence, and they're like, nope. Especially in England, they're not going to let him get away with that shit. It's going to be a Kamaru Usman point deduction for grabbing the fence when Leon tries to take him down, or maybe when he's up against the fence. I don't know. That's I think Usman plus 2,000. Whew, sign me up.
I'm realizing I may have to change the name this week because the card's in England. This may have to be like the Ghoulies. I I have to, culturally appropriate. I don't. All right, I'll have to ask. I'll have to consult with my the one Brit that I'm friends with on Twitter to tell me what a good name is. Jack. All right, Anthony, what do you got for the Yambag special and why? I have a feeling, and we don't talk about this before the show. I have a feeling you're going to pick one of the two that I have.
I have Sam Patterson and Yanal Ashmaz.
It is not the one that I had. All right.
Okay. I just think these are two of like the more lower level fighters on the card in general. And they're kind of sloppy. Especially if this gets on the ground and this is just kind of like up and down fight, fence grabs, potentially eye gouges, potentially fingers in the mouth. We saw biting a couple weeks ago, grabbing the gloves. I just think you're going to get two guys who are going to go out there and really, they both fight really hard. And so there's always just the chance for the eye pokes, nut hits, all kind of shit. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. Well, you guys didn't take either one. So here at the MMA Engine in our the Yambag Institute, there are a couple things we look for. One of them that I like is Southpaw versus Orthodox. Stances are open. There are two fights on this bill that fit that. Ludovic Klein against Jai Herbert, a fight we did not talk about at all. I thought about it, but I kind of think the Klein's going to be clinching too much, and I don't really like that fight as a whole for betting. The other one, Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori. It has two things that I love: Southpaw versus Orthodox and Roman Dolidze. If we're going to talk about a guy who gets meme finishes, and we're going to talk about Marvin Vettori, who I love him as a fellow Italian, I also know I love him as a fellow crazy person because he's definitely like a maniac. I think weird shit. This whole fight just screams weird shit. Like it just screams weird stuff to me. So I'm going to play, and I like Vettori by submission too. So I'm not just giving away a Yambag. This is a Yam mission. We had it last week with Grant. I think we get a Yam mission 2 weeks in a row. So
I like that.
Again, if Mark Smith is the ref for any of these fights, probably ain't happening. But but anyway, that is it. We have covered so many of the props. We almost covered. We covered like 8 or 9 fights in this card.
I don't know for 50. If it was a normal fight night, it wasn't just like 20,000 fights in the card. We would have covered everything.
Absolutely. The only fight we didn't cover, I don't think. I told you I had an auxiliary prop. I'm not going to get to it, but we didn't cover the Gunnar Nelson Barberena fight. I just want to ask you: is the line fair? Is it wide? I have no interest in betting it. I'm just curious your thoughts on a card with so many steamed lines. How do you feel about Gunnar Nelson being 4-1?
Not subbing Takashi Soto is a little bit of a red flag. That's all I got.
Yeah, I know. I think Gunnar Nelson's wrestling and submission game is being slightly overrated, and I think Bam Bam's submission defense and submission grappling and just takedown defense is being underrated. We saw him get walked through by RDA, but I'd say that RDA is levels above on the ground compared to Gunnar Nelson. So I kind of like. I mean, if you're looking for an underdog, just money line shot to play, why not?
I almost did Bam Bam KO. I was so close because just like Gunner's up in age, but he's up in age. We just saw RDA dog walk him. But I just that, and also Bam Bam kind of pillow fists.
I had Nelson decision written down because I do think that the takedown defense is so bad from Barberena that Nelson can control him. But Barberena fights for your money. But if you like Barberena in this spot, I don't know that he has decision equity because I think he's going to get taken down a lot. But that third round, man, like Barberena round 3 KO, because he'll fight for your money. He'll come out with urgency. And look, I'm not trying to compare the skill set of Gunnar Nelson to Jason Witt, but you saw in that fight with Jason Witt, it was easy to get takedowns the first 2 rounds to control Barberena. And then Witt almost gave it away. Barberena just came out in the 3rd round. His cardio is good. I mean, again, look who Barberena's getting finished by. Luque, RDA, he's getting finished by elite guys, elite striker.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gunnar Nelson's not I don't care as much about the Sato fight because Sato just was cool, you took me down and I'm just going to do this the whole fight. And I'm happy to not just get paid. Barbarian is not going to do that. So Barbarian could leave himself exposed. How good is Gunnar Nelson though? Like, should he be 4-1 against like anybody? He's 4-1 because of the takedown defense. I don't think he should be 4-1 though in this spot.
No,
but
I'm wholehearted with you. Wholehearted with you.
We have made it. We've made it to the end. Anybody watching, thank you for spending time with us. If you haven't hit the like button, do it. Hit the button. Thank you. Anthony, Tommy, thank you for being here. Please tell the people what you're up to. Please tell the people who your guest is this week, too.
Oh, our guest is Brady of the MMA Engine, DFS by the number. Super stoked to have him on. Recording that tomorrow.
You will have
a lot tomorrow.
You will have a lot of fun with him. He's a funny dude.
I can't wait. I'm glad he can help us debut the bar brawl. But yeah, we're doing that. We're doing a giveaway this week as well. I'll shout out on here as well. We're giving away a t-shirt, we're giving away a shirt or hoodie. We gave out our 2 hoodies this past week. No one won last week, so hopefully we can give it away. It's like, this is the hat. I don't have the sweatshirt with me, but you get this little logo on it. Sweet. You can also get a Living Fit hoodie or sweatshirt, whatever. All you got to do is we'll have a tweet. It says giveaway. You comment your pick for fight of the night. Just follow the Twitter. If you want to enter in twice, comment on our preview with Brady. And comment your fight of the night and subscribe to our channel. That easy. You get a hoodie. If you want to check him out, our boy Tyler Behrman, he has one. TB Scouting MMA. You can see how nice and comfortable they are.
He just gave away his last name. That's good. I talked to Tyler. He's my dude. And I have put all of your socials underneath.
Yes. Obviously, I'm not Leaning Not Fan on Twitter. I
have everything right. And go follow these guys. Like Tommy's funny. Anthony's underrated funny, but his picks lately, ride the hot hand, man. Anthony's killing it. Like, he is killing it. And I like that the only thing I did wrong here is we're not in order of beard strength. Like it should have been Tommy, me, and then Anthony. Like, but the people, like, look, just turn your monitor to the side.
Yeah.
All right here.
I got some weak ass sideburns. Sideburns.
I'm on the day 29 plan of my beard. So by the Friday show, like, I may be clean shaven again. Who knows? And happy St. Patrick's Day out there to all that celebrate it. I will not be going out on Friday. I want no part of amateur hour. That is it. As we wrap up, thank you guys once again. Everybody at home, good luck this weekend. Protect your bags. And we will see you next week for the Sanhagen Vera show, where I'm going a little different. I'm going the Twitter Spaces crowd into YouTube.
Whoa!
I will have Rips and Picks and Dagestani Poppy, 2 guys I've wanted to work with for a long time. I'm glad that they will be on. And then we get a break. So see you guys next week for Props to Consider, and then maybe bet.